Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and fight fans around the world. It's your boy P. Welsh here with another picks, previews, and predictions for UFC 302, Makhachev versus Poirier. Quick, a little recap. We had the off week from Memorial Day when I'm recording this. So let's where's the little recap here? What am I doing? All right, not the best week, 6-6. Bonehead picks with the big underdogs, but Demopolis, big win against Ducati. Antang Lee wrestled really well, beat Rodriguez. Carnelesi got lucky with the DQ headbutt. Magma Evolve looked good. Gatto, KO, Titch Punch, Sai, victory. Loss with Martinez and Nolan, good job. Hill with a nice win over Pinheiro. Yanez of El Salvador, monster KO. Garimbo, good win. Chaos Williams, and then Leroy Murphy, dude, looked amazing. Amazing. Barboza looked like an amazing punching bag. So bad read there. Should have picked the fight to go the distance. Was probably a nice safe bet, to be honest. But we're going to move into this card. UFC 302, their 6-6 record last week. We got Andre Lima versus, we have to go look at Mitch Raposo, 9-1 here. We'll start with Mitch. Lost his only fight against a UFC fighter, Jake Hadley. Rear naked choke, 1 on the Contender Series, 4 wins by KO, 3 by submission, 2 by decision versus Andre Lima, Mr. I got bit by my first win. Let's see how that really affects him going forward. I think he has a really good, significant strike potential. I think he can handle himself with his takedown defense against Mitch. I think that's where we're going to be seeing... up there. Get over here. It's going to be a great fight. But we're in the flyweight division, so not likely much to come about from this. If they lets me expand on it. I'm going to pick Andre Lima here. He's a betting favorite. I like this. One of the big defining factors for picking somebody like this in a fight that I don't know, haven't seen either of the fighters is I'm just going to probably pick on the experience more so than anything else. To just know to be in the octagon, have a game plan, know what to do when things go wrong. Like if it's your first time there and you've never really experienced too many wrong things against somebody that might be equal or better than you, that's why I'm going to pick Andre Lima in there, because he has at least been there. He's ready to go again. And I just think that advantage builds over time. Even if you lose your first fight in the UFC, I don't think it's a knockoff, because if you fight a real good fighter who's already a little bit ahead of you, it's fine. I think that's what we see here. I got Andre Lima with the win, flyweight division, maybe going the distance, probably more than not, just because of how that division doesn't have the most finishes. Could be, I don't know if submission. I don't want to call anything like that because that's just saying the words. But I like Lima here big time. Bang! First fight in the books. Next, we're into the women's bantamweight division. We got Aline Perez 9-2 versus Jocelyn Edwards 12-1. 5'5", coming off a win versus 5'8". Edwards coming off a loss, 12-1. Win by KO, 44% decision. Either one, it seems like they're going to. I kind of like this one going to the decision. Significant strikes lean to Edwards, looking like she can do more damage per the fight, but takedown average, high leverage to Perez there, and it's kind of what you want to think you're going to see here. Are we going to see Edwards be able to hold up on the feet? If her takedown defense is good enough as Perez tries to get in there, then Edwards can control the fight really well. If she has no fear of the takedown because she's longer and has a striking advantage to keep her at a distance, if she's always touching up Perez as she's coming in there, having the length advantage. I'm actually kind of leaning Edwards here. In my pre-notes, I was thinking Perez. I think she would be able to get in there, do the damage. But as I think about it, I think Edwards' length is going to be a real problem. Just to be able to hit her from a distance and not get hit in the women's fight is just something I'm probably going to lean towards right here. And I don't want to say I'm not against the favorites of the women's division, but I sometimes like the upsets. They've been a little bit fruitful lately. So I'm going to take this one here. I'm going out on a ledge here. I'm taking Edwards. I just think, we see the takedowns. Even if she gets taken down, if Perez can't keep her down, do damage, if the significant strikes can be there, and she has the length, I kind of like her a little bit going in there. That's where I'm going to kind of lean towards this one. I definitely like it going to the judges' scorecard. And if it's a split decision, I always like sometimes significant strikes damage versus ground control. Just in the way of like if you can defend it well enough and do damage, right? You can negate them doing damage with their wrestling and their ground game, and you can defend it and do damage as they're trying to accomplish that. I think it weighs for Edwards here. Taking the little underdog here in the second fight of the fight. I'm picking Jocelyn Edwards over Elaine Perez. Even though this one should be a pretty good scrap back and forth, it should be interesting to see how it plays out. Like I said, I'll probably bet like something over this fight to go to the distance. Should be exciting though. I'm excited when it's a main event card. I'll be watching from the jump. It's a super exciting time. I love watching the first cards, the first fights of the night. I love what the fight, the guys lay out. Bang! We got the last fight of the early prelims. We got Mickey Gall 7-5. We're in the welterweight division versus Basile Hafez 8-4-1, 5'11", 170 pounds here. And man, this one's a kind of tough one to go by. Mickey Gall has definitely a clear advantage in the grappling department. But does he have the gas tank to wear out Hafez? I don't know. I really like Hafez going in here. I like his ability to do damage and probably just beat Mickey Gall straight up. Not too much about Mickey. Lost to Mallet, lost to Morono, guy William, lost to Perry. Nothing too substantial on the record. I'm not saying Hafez is anything. Lost to JDM, freestyle fighter. I think he's gonna get in there and make a difference. I don't want to ever question any fighter stepping in the octagon. I really don't have too much about either of them. On the early prelims, we're just gonna hope for a finish here. I don't really know too many win by maybe submission, just the fight to end by submission might be a spicy bet because it doesn't look like it's going to the scorecard either. And just because the guy's taller and has the length doesn't mean he won't be put in a bad position on his back, taken down, put against the fence, sitting on his butt, and can be hit with a lot of stuff. Potentially Hafez with a strength advantage, so he gets him there and can hold him down and then do what he will. That's where I'm kind of leaning towards, and I'm picking Hafez in their third fight of the match. Bang! Moving on into the featured prelims, we're going to have the welterweight division again. Nico Price versus Alex Morono. Price, we got 15-7, 10 wins by knockout, 3 by submission. Lost to Robbie Lawler, lost to Philip Rowe, and beat some guy named Oliveira. Morono here. I like Morono. He's very clean with it. He's a very savvy fighter. Beat Court McGee. Big win. Buckley went toe-to-toe. Knockout or submission against Means. Lost against Ponzinibbio. This is the fight that I judged him way too hard on because he got KO'd in the third round. But realistically, in all these fights, he's winning a lot of the rounds, except maybe against Buckley. But Buckley is turning on a different level, especially coming down to the welterweight division. Beat Semisberger, beat Mickey Gall there by decision, and I really like Morono here. This one probably goes the distance. I think Morono will get touched up, but I think he will use even his wrestling to get some takedowns on Price, who's just susceptible to not being the cleanest fighter. Where I think Morono can get in there, time some combos. If you watch this fight, Morono's really good at feinting. He's really good at getting into positionings, hitting the timing in there. And I think he'll be able to do a lot of damage. He's very awkward. He's got very fidgety feet. Very fast twitch like that. Definitely lacks, if he can get hit, lacks. I don't think he has the biggest chin ever. He can take a punch. That being said, but he's one of those guys that wants to fight clean. He wants to fight fast. He wants to fight in and out. Really use the feints, 1-2, then combo, hit the kicks. To deal with the feints plus a big combo that he's going to bring Price is where I think he just wins on volume. I think he'll just win the first 2 rounds. Price will have a little bit of a comeback in him maybe. And I like Morono all day here, though. Bang! Moving on to the next bout, another welterweight. Hopefully we see a lot of finishes here. I'm hoping we don't go to the card too much there. I think this middle one will take us there. But I don't know. Jake Matthews here. I have a lot of expectations from him. Against Philip Rowe, 10-4, coming off a loss versus 19-7, coming off a loss. 4-inch reach advantage in the height, 7 in the arms for Rowe. Could be very difficult for Matthews to get in there, and I think Matthews really tries to do some damage and get some ground game going. Get him up against the fence, really negate that length and strength. Man, I really want Matthews to win. I really think Matthews would win. I again, it's one of those things where I've seen Matthews fight a few times. I can't tell you if I've seen Rowe fight that many times. A loss to Magny, go Price, a win on Witt. We can go through them. I don't really remember too much. Maybe the Mallet fight is what I remember. So it's like Mallet's a really talented fighter. He did lose to Neil Magny too. It's like that's no shame. Neil's a great fighter. It's kind of crazy how the undulation of the fighters happens from day to day when the win. If there's an injury coming, the last decision makes you think differently of the fighter here. Like, what do they need a little bit more? And I just can't imagine Jake Matthews going down here. I like Philip Rowe. I think he's got a lot of potential, but he's really going to have to put it together here. Now, if he fights very cautiously, and recording this one live on the spot with I want to pick Matthews here, but I might do the old reverse route onto the Philip Rowe pick. It is just one of those things where I think Matthews grappling will be able to take him down. And I think, again, it doesn't matter if you're tall, if the other guy is shorter and can get the leverage on you and get your leg above your head. Yeah, you might be able to brace yourself. You might not be able to do some damage, but what are you going to be able to do back? Man, Philip Rowe doesn't go to the decision. Matthews lost to Morales, beat Darius Flowers, lost to Semisberger. All right, we're going to do the flipperoo. Going Philip Rowe here. We're going to put him on the official picks, Philip Rowe here. Here's my thing. You don't lose to Semisberger. It's a decision. I just feel like Rowe, after remembering that fight for Matthews, that I think about it, as I look at against the opposite, I'm going to pick Rowe here just because Matthews, he might be metriced out. Maybe that's something that he won't be able to does do it well. Does he do it well enough to win the fight? Now, if I eat this loss, I'll be totally fine with it. I'm rooting for Jake Matthews. Like, it's like me. It's like, hey, Jake, put this one on me. Not even like in a Lewis way. It's like, yo, thing. But just in case, I'm gonna hedge myself with that. I'm gonna go pick Rowe here, and I'm gonna go take him to just kind of do a lot of damage, get him cut up, maybe some elbows, knees, a lot of kicks. That's where I'm going to go here. I'm picking Rowe here. The length is just going to be too much in the end. The old switcheroo right live. Doing it now. Phil Rowe picking for the win. Let's go, baby. Into the lightweight bout. Grant Dawson, Joe Solicki. Grant Dawson 22-1 coming off a loss. KO loss to Bobby Green in the first round. Joe Solecki 13-4 coming off a KO loss to Jakar Closa. Man, oh man. I mean, this one is one I think for the fans, dude. I think they fed us Grant Dawson here, wanting a little, a little de-ruster, a little chin check against somebody that won't exactly throw big hands. He's a huge grappler. If you don't remember, Selecki came in there, tried to grapple Closa, and got slammed finish on the one card. And I just think Dawson can be an absolute menace. Now he has to recover from the injury. Now I think it's been considerable time since that KO from Bobby. We're talking 8-9 months, which is the acceptable layoff. You want at least like 6 months from the KO plus a training camp, so he's looking okay. I won't ever forget the Ismagulov fight. I think that was one that always. I know he's out of the UFC now based on a heart condition, I believe. That's where I'm always going to lean. That's the Grant Dawson that I think we see against competition like that. Bobby Green is built different in the lightweight division. Like, that guy is a menace. He's a matchup nightmare for certain guys, and I think that's just what he was that night for Grant Dawson. He got caught, and that's what happens in the fight game, but I have no reason to be doubtful of Grant Dawson here. Probably even a finish, man. Maybe ground and pound or a club and sub. It can be anything. I don't think this fight goes the distance either way. And I want to see a nice performance from Dawson here. Hopefully he gets a nice bonus. Nothing against Selecki here, but there's levels to the game here, and Dawson has proved that he's that guy. And I think he shows it up again. Big time. Bang, into the middleweight division. This is one that I was a little bit back and forth on. Cesar Almeida, 5-0 from Brazil, 6'1", middleweight division, coming off against Roman Kopylov, 12-3, coming off a loss to fluffy Anthony Hernandez, who's currently just got injured on his last fight. But Almeida 5-0, and I didn't really have too much on Almeida here. A lot of finishes, a lot of possibility to do a huge damage, but not a lot of competition against him. A little bit older, the metrics very similar to Kopolov, thing I did go over here was kind of look at these worldwide rankings and make me not doubt Kopolov's as much as I did from watching him lose one fight. Granted, I had a little scratch on him and he didn't come through. It's fine. That's part of the game. Hernandez proved how clutch and elite he was, but we got 11 wins by knockout, 1 by decision. And I think he gets back in the win column here. I don't want to, I'm not going to pick against him because that's the last thing I want to do. Now, if this guy Almeida comes in there and starches Kopolov and he can't hang, I could very well see that happening. I'm not sure my man is definitely, he's not, flawless fighter, right? He goes late in fights. He can accumulate damage. If he gets winded by wrestling, like if Almeida can take him down and just be heavier and he can't move, I think that was the biggest thing that Hernandez had on him. He gassed him out just because he was a substantially big size fighter that was grappling. And I know his defense is good, but that power and relentlessness is there in the second, third round, and you're not on your feet striking. I can see Almeida winning this one really easily. There is Cesar Almeida, not Jolton. But I got to be taking Kopolov here. I'm just going to not go against my guy. He's put in the track record. He's had some nice finishes. Just because you lose one fight, back stronger. He didn't take a hell of a lot of damage. He really just got out-wrestled and he got subbed. Almeida coming in here. Maybe he can't even hang in the second round and he just falls late. If Kopolov can defend his wrestling, whatever he can bring there, doesn't take too much damage. He doesn't even take anybody down, so this guy's going to be swinging for the fence anyway. I don't even know I'm saying wrestling, but I know that that's always a part of Kopolov. I want to pick Almeida here, but there's no way I'm going to put the official pick against anybody but Kopolov. Now, he can give me 2 on my record for the channel, and that's fine. Sometimes you got to live with your picks like that, but sometimes you just got to trust your guys and just go with, you think that he's very talented, even if he wins by the judges' scorecard. You don't have to actually pick how the fight's going to win. You just got to see and if he loses, he loses. The fight game's impossible to predict here. I'm just trying to give you the opinions I have from watching guys compete, every week in and week out, watching a lot of fights on the cards. There's so many people introduced that are never fighting again, that come in and out, fight once, twice a year. So, it's interesting to try and get information, watch more and more on all these fighters, and I haven't seen Almeida fight. We're going in there against Budka. What else do we have on him? Yeah, Almeida. High amateur level. Going with Kopolov. Keep it simple. Kopolov, maybe go to the decision, maybe not a finish. I don't know. This one's tough for me. This is I think about this is these are this is one of those hey, this is my heart pick. I hate these heart bonehead picks. So I want to see this happen, but instead of just actually picking oh, this is gonna be the winner, and I'm just picking this as the winner. Next, Randy Brown versus Zaleski Del Santos, welterweight division. The guy Randy Brown, 18-5, coming off a win, 6'3" versus Zaleski, 24-7-1, coming off a draw to Renat Fidikarek. I don't know how to say his name exactly, but I was going back and forth on this one. Brown, very well-rounded, sub KO decision. Same with that, significant strikes, even grappling, looking pretty even. Brown maybe got a little bit better defense because of the odds. And this is an experimental pick. My pick is Brown, officially Randy Brown. I think it's really, I'm going to see how this one goes. Not only because he's a favorite. I love his length. I think he's really good. He's very disciplined. He's very accurate, I think, with his strikes. And if he's able to get my guy cut up, and as the fight gets going on, if he's not able to hit him, I think Brown can really do a lot of damage in this fight and win on significant strikes and split decision. Could be very close if it goes to the judges' scorecard. I will say this about fighters coming off a draw. It means you fought well enough not to lose, but it also means you fought bad enough to not win, right? You had holes in your game. You couldn't dominate. You couldn't control. You took some damage. And that's where I really think, and this is the fight that taking Saint Denis to the distance, but that's years ago right now. Solaklavov, losing to him is not one that I'm not really. To me, there's holes, and I'm not saying Randy Brown is a flawless fighter either. I'm not saying he can't lose because he gets subbed by JDM, who's definitely a ranked fighter. But a win on Williams not being hit, I think this is like this. This is the fight. Like Randy Brown may not be able to sustain enough damage from Zaleski to lose, right? Now, if he gets finished, then that's what happens, right? But over the entire course of the fight, I think the output is in Randy Brown's favor. I think I'm going to pick Randy Brown to get the win. He might be able to finish him. And with something crazy, I'm picking Randy Brown because I can see that happening. I can see this guy not getting the job done. For me to pick the win condition and tell you like this guy is the pick over Randy Brown would mean he'd have a significant advantage and one spot where he could overturn what somebody else does better. And I don't think he does that in this fight. It's Randy Brown all day. Bang! Moving on into the heavyweight division, we got the other Almeida, Jolitin, 20-3, coming off a loss to Curtis Blades versus Alexander Rachmanov, 17-2, coming off a win. Who is that against? Inanov, lost to Volkov, lost to Ty Burra. Here's the thing. Will he be able to do the damage to Almeida? We all know what Almeida is going to do. He's going to want to control you. He's going to want to throw some hands. He's going to want to take it to the ground. He's going to want to control you. And if you can't get up, if you're not mobile enough, if you're not big and strong enough, like Blades was too big and too strong. After the reset, the juice might not have been there, and he got caught in like not the best position. He decided to get lazy instead of break and move him, right? Like, that's whatever. I think if he gets a hold of Romanov, I think he holds him down for the 3 rounds and gets the job done. I'm picking Almeida. If he puts another loss on my record like he did against Blades, that's fine with it. I'll live with it. I think Romanov, he's got a nice record, but I don't think the level of athleticism and competition can stick with Almeida. Now, Almeida's got to sit in there and throw some hands, dude, because he just can't try to take down these big guys now that he went from light heavyweight to heavyweight. These guys can knock him out way easier, right? When he's in the light heavyweight division, he doesn't really have to worry about it. Getting caught in the side of the head, getting slightly stunned, and then just getting hammer-fisted from Curtis Blades. You know what I mean? Like, that's an option if you can't move him for a long enough time. So hopefully he's got to stay active and athletic if he can't move him. Disengage, rotate, try and do some damage, and then shoot for a takedown when Romanov, like, you got to, like, as somebody that wants to take the other guy down, you have to believe that you're willing to exchange where the person's willing to commit, and then when you see them commit, you have to go for the takedown. Those are the most effective grapplers and what they do there, and I think Almeida is going to implement that into his game a little bit more. I don't think he took big damage. I think he just took a shot and got KO'd. That being said, it's never nice coming off a loss, but I think this man's a special talent in the UFC, and but if Romanov can knock him out and do it again, maybe he'll be rethinking the heavyweight decision. He's naturally putting on some more weight, I assume. Picking Almeida there just to control the fight. Probably very boring, a big boo fest, but hopefully we see something more from Almeida coming off the Blades loss recently. Bang! Next fight here, Kevin Holland versus Mikhail Olszkaleszczuk. Holland, 25-11. Mikhail, 19-7. Both coming off a loss. 6'3" versus 6 foot in the middleweight division. And what should we say too much about this one? I mean, this one's tailor-made for Kevin Holland to get a nice, exciting finish. I don't want to pick against him, right? Like, I think about these guys that are very talented that lose some fights, like McKinney the other week. And I don't want to compare the fighters because I think each opponent is different and each person is different. Just because they lose some fights, it's a characteristic, not a fighter trait. I think Kevin is a very clean fighter with it too. I think he's going to want to come back strong with it. I think he lost to MVP. He didn't sustain a lot of damage. Kevin has a lot to come about, and I think this is something we might see. Submission. Our guy, Mikhail, has been submitted a few times. Now, if he gets KO'd, like, I'll be sad and I'll be a little bit surprised just because this guy really hasn't shown too much to me that he's got the confidence to be in the octagon. Now, I don't remember this fight where he knocked out Chitty, but sub losses to absolute killers is no shame about it. But it might be one of those things that, like, he might be good against bad fighters like Brundage and Chitty, young bad fighters, and then bad against good fighters, and to me, Holland's a good fighter. Holland loses to great fighters. He doesn't lose to average and like good fighters, right? Like he loses to guys in the ranks and guys that are contenders. I think this is a feast fest for Holland. I think he finishes the fight. I think he gets a first round. To be honest, nothing against Mikhail. He just hasn't been having it. I mean, maybe he'll stand up a little bit more, but to me, this is Holland all day, baby. Into the co-main event of the evening, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, 28-6, coming off a loss, the title loss to DDP. Paulo Costa, 14-3, coming off the loss to Robert the Reaper Whitaker. And man, what can you say about this one? A matchup dream that all us fans have been looking for. We got the boxing shell of Strickland, the activity level versus the bombing and the just sheer athleticism of Costa. I'm going to bring some crazy knees, kicks. I can see Sean taking a lot of damage in this fight. I can see him winning. I can see this being like a split decision, very close at the end. I think you see him winning more rounds than not, and that's where Costa's going to win. But I can see my guy taking a lot of damage. He did a lot of damage to Whitaker, and he's a lot faster. You know, Strickland's going to be a sitting target. He's going to walk straight forward. He's going to do a little bit left and right, and you're going to have to hit through his hands. I think my guy Costa should aim to do damage to Strickland, try and hurt one of those arms, hurt one of those legs. You know, I'm pretty sure Strickland's pretty good at checking those kicks, but I would try and bring those kicks upstairs. Like, you know, Strickland's not going to go in there and try and take you down. So I would try and work like some body shots and then work some high kicks. So even if you're working high to low, he's bringing that arm up and try and do some damage that way. Because if you can do damage with your offense to his offense and negate something that he does, hit a hand, hit a wrist, injuries happen in the fight game. So I think he is pretty good in his shell and grit and checking his kicks low. I think you have to almost level change and fight in reverse against Strickland too. Like, even, you know, one thing I would do if I was Costa, I would almost go in there and bull rush him too. You know, not too committal to it, but just get in there and try and push him to the edge of the cage. Just show him that, like, I'm not gonna be afraid to go forward and push you back. And I don't want you to think that you can just always walk forward and walk back, you know. I'm picking Strickland here all day. There's no way that I don't think he gets a decision here, and I think he could potentially do a big combination, and if he's really clean with it, body shot, jab, jab, get a nice big combo, wombo, do a big damage. I mean, you don't, just because Strickland lost to DDP, don't forget that he almost KO'd Adesanya there. Now, granted, whatever version of Adesanya that was, whatever it is. But this is Strickland against Costa. Costa don't play the best defense. He gets pieced up. He allows you to hit him just so he can try and do a big damage back. But I got Strickland here, probably going to the judges' scorecard. Bang, middleweight bout. This is one we're probably going to see a lot of blood in here. I can see a lot of damage on both sides. This one should be exciting. We're going to be in for a doozy come the end of this card here, bringing us up to the main event of the evening. We got the lightweight title bout. Islam Makhachev, 25-1 versus Dustin the Diamond Poirier, 30-8. Both boys coming off a win. We got the reigning, defending, undisputed lightweight champion in Makhachev versus Dustin. Dust him off, the Diamond Poirier. We all thought he was down and out after that KO loss to Gaethje. And I'll say what I have to say about Dustin later in this breakdown. And I'm going to start with Makhachev being that champion that he is, and to hold that belt is something else. Now, for Dustin to be able to take it off of him, man, I would love to see it happen. It's my fans of fans like dreaming away to hold that undisputed gold. I'm not going to pick that, and I'm not going to even bet that. Maybe like one, unit, just because I want to see if Dustin does win. But I'm never going to hope and pray for that. This is a Makhachev pick. 25-1. I think he gets him in the third round by submission. I actually think he'll stand and fight. Again, commit, takedown, go for the takedown enough, but then wait for Poirier to commit, tire him out to really do the damage in the second and third round, and eventually get that finish once he really gets that feel for him. Because I think Dustin is very strong. He's very technical, but he can be susceptible to losing. Like, he does not always win. And that guy's got a 25-1 record for a reason. I don't care who you fight, you beat everybody. You're a gangster like Dustin Poirier, and we all love and respect that. Um, the we all love and respect the gangster he is. I'll say it again. But he's also talking about the end of the tunnel, and I don't like that in a title fight. I just wish he wouldn't even talk about it, even if he's thinking about it. And even more than that, I wish he wouldn't even think about it, because that means like he's thinking about if he loses, he's not going to come back at it again. And he's got that Volkanovski against Topuria to me, where he's like almost like predicting the end. Like if it doesn't go well, like he's giving himself an out, that he's saying that it's over and he doesn't want to compete again. And like I feel what DC said, and I'm not going to pick Poirier. I feel even worse about it now, fight week, hearing those things. Now, do I hope he surprises me and proves me wrong? Absolutely. It's what I actually dream of as a freaking UFC fan. But do I want to pick it? Am I going to pick it? Absolutely not. Do I think Makhachev wins pretty handily? Absolutely. Do I think he gets the finish? Yes, I do. Like, if it goes to the scorecard, it's not something that I think Makhachev wants, but if it does, then I think he also could very well dominate the fight. 4-1, maybe. Like, Diamond getting in the 4th round after 3 big wins. Like, if he can't get the finish, I can definitely see a big decision win for Makhachev, 49-46. Something like that, even 50-49. Like, if the judges really like him, I don't see this belt changing hands, unfortunately, as much as we want it. I got Makhachev. I did put a 1-unit bet on him to win by sub in the 3rd round for something like that. There's a lot of finishes in the 2nd and 3rd round, but Dustin's a warrior, and he doesn't usually get finished, especially by sub, unless it's the 3rd round. If you want to take a quick look, I know he has 2nd round KO, but 3rd round sub. Even against Oliveira, 3rd round sub. Habib had the 3rd round sub, I believe. So it's one of those things where I definitely think he can get the win, but do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not here. So let's do a little recap here of UFC 302 here. We're going to start off Lima. We got Edwards, Hafez, Morono, Rowe, Dawson, Kopolov, Brown, Almeida, Holland, Strickland, and Makhachev. Hopefully we can have a fire week, get a monster winning record on there. We've been at a couple 500 weeks the last 2 weeks. Not the best. Not been having the cleanest picks, but been trying to go out on a limb a little bit more, which I'm not doing here. I'm trying to stick, trying to have like a near perfect week. Let's stay locked in. Again, $100, perfect card. Leave your favorite pick the winners of every fight in the comment section below, and I'll give you $100 if it all hits. Peace and love, and like and subscribe if you enjoy it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.